guy, Billy Baldwin. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Jim, Stacy, what's happening?
What's going on, man?
Good morning.
All right.
I'm all verklempt. I can't even talk.
I know. She's been a little Twitter-pated all morning long with you, Billy, and I'm telling you.
I have to say that you were recently on Hot in Cleveland, and that is absolutely one of my favorite shows. And you were awesome.
Yeah, I have a little arc on the show, and I've known Val over the years because my brother Daniel did a show with her back in the day. He did a couple seasons on a show that she did called Sydney, and it was cute because I was shooting Sliver at Paramount, and they were shooting Sydney on the soundstage next to me. So for about 6 months while I was doing that picture, I got a chance to spend a little bit of time with them. But yeah, Jane and Wendy Malick, and of course the national treasure that is Betty White. I mean, that was really the closer for me, is when they came to me and they offered me something a couple seasons ago when I wasn't available, and when they came back with a multi-episode arc and a chance to work with her, I jumped at it.
Absolutely. So is Valerie as sweet as she comes across? She just seems sweet.
Yeah, and she's a pro. I mean, think about it. She worked with my sister-in-law. I'm married to China Phillips, and her sister Mac Mackenzie worked with Val on One Day at a Time, and Val was on the set telling me, I remember when China used to come visit us on the set, she must have been 13 years old. I'm like, wow, it was that long ago. So that's the veteran that Val is, and that's the pro that she is. She's been doing it forever. She can knock this out in her sleep.
Now, this is the final season of the show, and of course, Betty White, you mentioned her. I mean, when I watch the show, her timing, her comedy is just unbelievable. So the woman is 93 years old.
Yeah, I was with them for her 93rd birthday, and we choreographed a flash mob for her birthday that was crew members from, 2 or 3 shows. We had maybe a couple hundred people in the flash mob, and we shot it with more cameras than have ever been on the set of Hot in Cleveland. We had like drones flying in the air, and we had cameras mounted on golf carts, and they cut it together, and I think within a week it had like 20 million views. It went totally viral. But that's just the love affair that our country has had with this woman for decades and decades. Not just Betty, but Val as well.
No.
Okay, so
Hot in Cleveland, final season. They're airing it on CBS, and of course it's on TV Land. That's where I watch it. So thank you for joining the cast. Awesome.
Okay, so now I remember you from Flatliners. I watched you in Backdraft, which, is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's my Sunday movie, go-to movie. How was it playing a firefighter? Because I used to be a firefighter paramedic for about, 8 or 10 years.
No, it was great. I was, so blessed to have a chance to work with Ronnie Howard and Kurt Russell, Scott Glenn, J.T. Walsh, Robert De Niro, that whole gang. Jennifer Jason Leigh was like an all-star cast. Ronnie really, helped me. That was really a big breaking point for me. I mean, I guess that was what they would call your big break in Hollywood, was being cast in that film. I remember when I was cast in that on a Friday, I only had an agent, and on Monday morning, my agent called me laughing at the end of the day, and he goes, I've gotten phone calls from 14 managers and 9 lawyers wanting to represent you. Wow. And that was only because, it was announced that Friday that I'd been cast to play the lead in Backdraft, and all of a sudden managers and lawyers came just like, parachuting in. Yeah. So it's a big moment for my career.
Now,
that's awesome.
I read an article here. It's a couple years old. It's from Vanity Fair. You made the Vanity Fair Hall of Fame. And your brother talks about you, and he says that you are like one of the easiest people to be around out of all the brothers. Are you guys super close?
Well, that's not hard to be when you measure the level of insanity and dysfunction in my family. I won the booby prize there. No, my family is just very. I don't mean this. I'm acknowledging them. I'm not tooting my horn. I'm really just saying they're, very bright and successful and talented and, missing a gene somewhere because they're incredibly, insanely dysfunctional. And I love them. We don't get a chance to get together, every Thanksgiving and every Christmas because everybody's got the in-laws factored in. So it usually narrows down to weddings, funerals, and I put a stake in the ground in the summer in upstate New York where my mother lives and my 2 sisters live. We go to the Finger Lakes up there in a little lake town called Skinny Atlas, and I get a camp there, and my mother and two sisters are there, and my brothers all come. We're there for about a month, and so that's good. Every summer we come in from the West Coast, and we get a chance to spend a month, and we usually get everybody, not just my immediate siblings, but we get a lot of cousins on my mother's side because they are from all up there in upstate and central New York. So, that's nice. But it's not like we're spending every Thanksgiving and Christmas together. That's impossible now.
Now, growing up a Baldwin, what would you describe your parenting style as? Are you different with your kids than you were raised?
Well, think about it. I mean, when I was in high school, you got out of line, a teacher can smack you in the side of the head and stuff you in a locker.
Right, exactly.
That's what the public schools were like back in the 1970s. And my father was a Brooklyn street kid who was a Marine for 5 years, and he became a high school teacher and a football coach. And you didn't mess with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't wear it on a sleeve that he was a Marine, but you definitely didn't mess with this guy. And you can't teach that way. You can't run a public school system that way anymore, and you really can't parent that way. I'm not a big proponent of this timeout generation that we live in. I think that's going to be an epic fail when all these kids are 30, 35 years old. They're going to wander around saying, "Someone help!"
True.
But I think there's some balance. I mean, between some of the stuff that's working with the way I don't parent the way my father parented us, but at the same time, every once in a while, to get a little East Coast and get a little old school and get a little medieval on your kids.
Yeah.
I don't think you could give them a little dose of my size 14, against their backsides. You never know.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
My wife is sitting here with me going, "Bill, don't say that,
Okay.
Bill."
Here's what I want you to pass on to your wife. Tell her to hurry up and put another album out, will you?
They want you to put another record out. Are you playing up in what? Hold on, Channel. What's the name of that casino? Squamish, or something? What's the one up there?
Snoqualmie?
Yeah, Wilson Phillips plays up there every once in a while. They do
very nice.
Up in Seattle, up in Washington.
Yeah, Snoqualmie.
Yeah, they just booked a bunch of new shows. They have Toronto, Atlantic City, Orlando, Phoenix. They're going to Bali to do a show out there. I'm going to go with her on that one. It's our 20th wedding anniversary, so we're going to hit this corporate gig she's got in Bali, and then we're going to just kick it on the beach. And don't you dare say you're bringing the kids, because I'll reach through this phone. And I don't know what I might do.
All right,
Awesome.
Billy, anything you want to tell us for your future plans?
Yeah, I got a lot going on. I mean, I'm doing an arc on Hit the Floor with Dean Cain and Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, and then I go into 3 or 4 films, two in L.A., one in Toronto, one in Moscow. So there's lots of opportunities. You got to keep working. Got to raise those kids, man.
Right.
Got to support your family.
Billy, thank you so much for taking some time, man. We appreciate it. Tell the wife hi, and hopefully we'll see you over at Snoqualmie. Yeah.
Right. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
There you go. Catch him on Hot in Cleveland. And that's the final season of the show this year. And one of my absolute favorite shows. He seems like a heck of a nice guy.
He is so cool.
He's a guy I'd want to go have a beer and
He
eat a
probably
steak
would.
with.
Yeah, he probably would, because he's just that he's that type of person.
Now, the
so.
brother, Alec, I'd be scared to hang out with.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.